Right, this bit of video details construction of the 45mm width undercarriage for the Tool Wagon. It's a little bit different to the 32mm version, but please watch the 32mm version first. That will give you an idea of what to do. And then please follow this particular setup for the 45mm. Because the whole undercarriage is wider, there's less number of parts, they go together in a different order and they're numbered differently. So here we go. Start off with your basic chassis, which I've got here. So this is identical on the 32 and 45, but this is where it now changes. The first part we have to fit is labelled number 1, and that's got 2 little slots in it. Similar to the 32 version, it goes in to the 2 tangs, into the 2 holes there and there. So that's number 1 in. Then we do number 1 on the other side. Again, into 1 hole. And then you can just flex it slightly until it drops into the other hole. And this needs to be done always with the numbers facing outwards. So we're now going to build this out and out from that direction as well. So after number 1, 1A, and this is one of the extra pieces, which is 1mm wide, and it's just a packer. So that's 1 and then 1A. We won't worry about this side yet. Then we add number 2, which is the one with the brake detail on. Then we add number 3. When we come to add number 4, you need to have already put the ball races into number 4 from the back side, so that the flange, when you look at the numbers, you can't see the flange. And we run some super glue around there as described in the other video with the 32mm. So we've done that with number 4. So number 4 then goes as I've done there. And you can see the flanges are on the inside. At this point, I would suggest that you add a wheel and slot him in to the ball race, and slot this one into the ball race. And then we start to build up, so keeping a bit of weight towards me. So then we add the next part, so that's number 1. So we then add 1A, and we add 2, and then we add 3, and then we add 4, which will already have the ball races fitted and glued in. So as you offer 4 up, just lift the axle until it drops into the ball race. Do that on both of them. Then we can add number 5. Again, always facing out with the writing. We can add number 5 this side. And again, keep it sort of this direction, an angle, that way nothing falls out. Give the wheels a spin to check they work. Now we can have the stretchers in the middle. So again, they go in exactly the same as on the 32, but obviously these are a little bit bigger. So when you put the stretchers in, the wheel may drop out slightly, which it's done there. Just drop him up again and push him back in. Make sure the stretchers are in. And do the same with this one, this end. quite a fiddly one to do. May find it's easier to put the stretchers in first. I'll leave that for you to play with. I seem to be getting on all right here. Nearly there. Right, so I've now got stretchers in. I've gone up to number 5 on both sides, as you can see. And we've got a bit of movement on the wheels, so that's okay. I wouldn't add the outer ones quite yet. We'll come to those in a minute. So at this point, put them down, make sure they're all pushed down firmly. And then while squeezing in the middle, just again make sure you've got the wheels will rotate. They rotate quite nicely. And then using your super glue, we do exactly the same as we did, or as is shown in the 32mm version. So we run some glue up the sides where the stretchers are at the other end, and then we take some glue on the end of our stick and we just sort of work it onto the surface there, and then with a tissue clean it off. Do the same on there, and do the same halfway down, just rub it on, let it soak in, and then off with a tissue, all the time keeping pressure in the middle part there. Then we do exactly the same this end, in there, round the stretcher, and at the end. So that will then lock all that in position. Again, check the wheels are still rotate. Now at this point, we need to add a little bit of oil into the bearings there, that one, and the one that's under my thumb you can't see. We're then in a position that we can add the final covering, which is this one here. You would have already put the axle box covers on. So these then drop into the same position on the outside. And then again, just a little bit of super glue on the surface there, and at the other end. And a very, very small amount down into the corners. And that will lock that into position. So that's the change for the 45mm. After that, putting the steps on with the supports is absolutely identical to the 32mm version. So hopefully that makes sense. I would say again to you though, please watch the 32mm video first. Then you'll have an idea of what you're going to do. And this is exactly the same, except that the numbering is different. There's a less number of parts, and it's obviously a wider setup. Thank you very much.